With the first three live-action Transformers movies, tie-in novels and comic adaptations were produced and released alongside them. These tie-ins followed the same plot, but were made using earlier drafts of the movie's script, so there are some alterations between the different medias. These alterations included full scenes, with one particular scene in the comics that would have been interesting to see added to the finished movie: Skids and Mudflap dying at the hands of Sentinel Prime. Even with their reputations, it's still important to explain the twins. Skids and Mudflap, or the twins, were Autobots who featured throughout the second live-action movie, 2009's Revenge of the Fallen. The reception in the film was mostly negative, with them fighting and bickering all throughout the movie, and generally being very annoying. Some fans even claim, due to their designs and manner of speaking, they represent racist stereotypes of African Americans, only adding to their infamous reputations. Due to their reception, they were cut from the third live-action movie, Dark of the Moon, but not from its tie-in comic, in which they would be killed by Sentinel Prime, alongside Ironhide. While Skids and Mudflap aren't in Dark of the Moon, it's still important to mention the scene they would have taken part in. In the film, due to Sentinel's importance in the Decepticon plan involving his space bridge pillars, the Autobots escorted him back to Nest HQ, only to be ambushed by the Dreads. Once the Dreads are dealt with, and the Autobots reach the base, the real trouble begins. Sentinel reveals his deal with Megatron, concluding by shooting Ironhide twice using his cosmic rust cannon. Sentinel discharged Ironhide with one more final shot, before firing at Bumblebee, with B making his escape. All while Lennox ordered everyone to fall back and not to engage Sentinel. Sentinel would storm the facility, destroying everything and retrieving his pillars, later using them to transport Decepticon forces from the moon to Washington, D.C., leading to the eventual invasion of Chicago. In the comic adaptation, the scene plays out largely the same, this time with Skids and Mudflap appearing alongside the other Autobots as well. Continuing from where issue number 2 left off, with Sentinel shooting Ironhide, issue number 3 begins with Sentinel revealing his deal with Megatron, as he believed the Autobots would never have won the war. Finishing off Ironhide with one final shot, Sentinel turned to shoot Bumblebee. Skids, however, would jump in the way to attack Sentinel as he fired, taking the full blast and dying from the cosmic rust. Seeing his twin die, Mudflap would charge at Sentinel in an attempt to get revenge. He would meet the same fate as Skids, with Sentinel claiming Mudflap received an end worthy of an Autobot. Using Mudflap's death as a distraction, B got Sam and Lennox away from the carnage, as Sentinel began his rampage throughout the facility, taking back his remaining pillars. Whether you find the twins offensive or not, their demise by Sentinel Prime was brutal and merciless. However, comparing their deaths to Ironhide's in the movie, Ironhide has had a more graphic demise. After being shot 3 times, we see Ironhide's whole body quickly rust and soon crumble to pieces, as cosmic rust is a very deadly disease that eats away at anything metal until it's nothing but dust. In a twist of fate, they wouldn't be the only victims of cosmic rust, as Sentinel Prime would eventually be on the receiving end of his own weapon, by Optimus. After killing Shockwave, Optimus would begin to fight Sentinel, where he would soon be overpowered. Sentinel would have shot him with his rust cannon if he wasn't ambushed. Megatron would join the fight, attacking Sentinel, and giving Optimus the opportunity to grab the rust cannon. Sentinel would claim there can only be one, and Optimus took the shot. After the blast, Sentinel would claim he had to betray Optimus to ensure the survival of the Cybertronian race, only for Optimus to retort he betrayed himself, as Sentinel perished from the cosmic rust. Dark of the Moon isn't a perfect movie, but it is one I still really enjoy. While I'm happy with the finished movie we got, I feel the altered scenes would have made it a little better, with at least one more alteration. While the comic's ending left his fate ambiguous, the novel shows Megatron had grown tired of the war, wishing to rebuild Cybertron, and even offering a truce to Optimus. In fact, this was originally going to be the ending for the movie, but due to the comic being leaked months before the movie came out, the ending was changed. I highly recommend watching Theorymus' videos on both the original ending and the twins, for much greater details on each topic.
You promised you would!